All right, so welcome to this hangout. And we are going to be talking today about Unity Framework, the Microsoft MVC framework, and integrating inversion of control container into this. So we're looking at a solution here for an application, a common sort of line of business application. And let me just make certain arrangements with the audio. It's quite the echo. All right, so what we're going to be talking about and working on today is integrating the Microsoft MVC framework with an inversion of control container. All right, so we have this project here. We have this project, which is a common sort of line of business application, which has some entities loaded into it that are managed by the Unity Framework. I'll just make certain arrangements here vis-a-vis the quality of the video. Make sure we can all see this. Oh, perfect. So the application currently, the layout of the application is more or less as follows. We have this line of business timesheet application solution here with 10 projects in it currently. One of these projects that is of interest is this Entity Data Model project here. See if we can get this to load in a timely fashion. So we have followed a model first workflow with the latest version of the Unity Framework as of today, 24th August 2018. And the model in question is a fairly straightforward model, about 20 entities. This is the general shape of the thing. Now, at the center of the action is this rate entity. The rate entity currently has just a few properties. And you imagine in a timesheet application, you want to be able to do various important things with the rate. And so we want to be able to attach, for instance, rates to resource roles. So you might set up a bunch of role resources and put them in roles. You might want to attach rates to the roles. You may want to attach the rates to the resources themselves. In your application, you might have some locations. Locations might be resources associated with rates in a common business scenario. And so you might want to attach a rate to a location. You might want to divide your project up into phases. So you might want to be able to associate a rate with a certain phase of a project, or you might want to associate the rate simply with a project, or any combination or all of those things. Now, Visual Studio is pausing for the cause here. This editor is fairly slow, and it seems that going forward, it's I'm not quite sure what the roadmap is for this editor, but I quite like it, and I hope that Microsoft does not deprecate workflows associated with this editor. Now, taking another look at the project schedule here, you can associate phases with schedules. And again, as we see, locations can have GPS coordinates associated with them, and postal addresses. These things can be associated with contacts who can have social identities. And these contacts, some of them may be resources. And some of them might be project owners who are associated with the various projects that we're tracking in our system. All right, so that's our starting model. The rate, we're allowing you to say that a base rate might have certain modifiers on it, such as taxes. So you can add modifiers such as taxes or discounts or coupon benefits, what have you, partner benefits. You set those up and you associate that with a mathematical operation, a percentage change, or a flat rate change. All right, so what we want to do is flow this model through the screens in a web application and a mobile application, which will be accessible behind the firewall and out on the corporate internet. We're going to build this out so that you authenticate via the cloud, and your identity, your cloud identity, will authenticate you both to any cloud deployed modules, as well as on-premises behind the firewall Active Directory domain controlled environment. So essentially, we're going to be looking to build this out so that authentication is handled by cloud, in this case, the Microsoft Azure Microsoft Azure Active Directory. And we are going to sync our on-prem Microsoft Windows Active Directory users and groups with the cloud identity store, which will permit people to access the portal from the cloud using identities we'll control from on-premises. Now, currently we have two web applications in the solution, the portal and a portal API web application, both of which are MVC applications enabled with Web API, with Web API NuGets. We plan to enable a REST interface to our services layer because we want to use a logic app to interact with our services API. So we have a base set of services. This, for instance, is a contact service. There's the interface for it. And Here is implementation. It has some starter logic. We're going to implement the async pattern. So we have some touch-ups to do to the code here to finalize implementation of that pattern. And the web applications will interact directly with the services layer, not across REST, but via an ordinary DLL reference. So our controllers in the portal, when you scaffold, for convenience, I scaffolded these controllers using the database so that I would automatically get a whole CRUD operation scaffolded for me. Now, what we want to do is not use the database references directly in the controllers. We want to instead, we want to use the service reference. And we do not want to simply add a C# language instance of the service to our controller. Since our best practice, we're going to follow that best practice of inversion of control and dependency injection. So all we'll do is inject the contact service and on any other services we require via a controller constructor injection. All right. Now, to do that, we need to manage our NuGet package situation. The packages that are in play are all under, in our case, we'll select the NuGet, we'll select the Unity container, inversion of control container. And here we have inserted for us this web API specialization of it, which simplifies the scaffolding of the integration of this container. We've done that as well for the website. All right, so these are the REST services. This is the website. Now, when you add the web API version of that Unity NuGet package, one of the things it does is add these two files to your app start. And if you take a look at this one, what we have is some boilerplate code that lazily instantiates the container. And then you have to come here and register some types. So we've registered our iContact service. After that, magically, we can just refer to this interface in constructors of classes within this project. And the container will serve one up for us, okay? So this allows us to mock, for instance, the container if we wanted to for our unit testing, but I've decided to do the unit tests against the live against a database. And if necessary, we'll just add post and pre-test cleanup to remove our test entities. This Unity Web API activator is also of interest. What is in here? All right, so there's a global config that sets up the dependency resolver. So this hooks into the ASP.NET MVC dependency resolver. This hooks the Unity container into that. And in this file, you hook your stuff into the container. Okay? All right, so that's app start. Now, let's do the same thing for the website. In app start, we'll go to Unity config. We'll check to see that we have this iContact service type registered, which we do. Let's validate that the solution builds. I've deployed SQL Server, the latest version of SQL Server 2018 or whatever it is, on my dev box here. So some of the worker processes consume a lot of RAM. So I wanted to have another instance of this going so that I could run my tests against my local instance using the real SQL, all the functionality of the SQL Server, the full version of the SQL Server as opposed to the dev light version of it. So I apologize for the speed of my builds. One of the things we'll be doing is continuous integration and deployment. So we'll be moving these builds to Visual Studio Team Services. And we'll do a separate video where we'll set that up. What else is of interest while the build proceeds? Let's shut all these. Let's leave everything, shut everything down except for this. And I would like to take a look at this context control. So the build failed. That's annoying. No, code paths return a value. Fascinating. Okay, so return. Okay. Let's fix that by referring to the relevant service. So contact service, if contact exists, async. So let's see here, contact is async. That takes care of that. Now, where did we get this ID? All right, let's just cheat here and say contact ID. This is a slight cheat because we've not and not found. In our case, we're going to turn fonts, and up here, not all code paths return a value. So again, we'll just put a quick little cheat in here. Outside of the end of this cat block, I'll just return true. Now we'll have to make a note here that says fix this code, this method, sanity check distance okay, so I've got rid of all the red in here. So this is our service method, which takes a contact and then does a database level operation on it, and then returns, and it depends on this method here, which depends on that ID. Okay, so not very defensive here. We just directly use the ID. So put some defensive programming. Fix this method to defensive programming. Now then, go ahead and try to build again. And hopefully the build goes a little faster this time. Not quite sure what that brief flash of red is. Okay, so all right, so that controller, that part, the project builds. Now again, let's revisit what it is we're doing. We have ourselves going a contacts controller in the website. What we are going to do is stop using this entity collection directly in the controller, and we've delegated operations on the entity collection to the iContact service, which we are now calling via dependency injection. Okay, so now what we have to do is remove all the references, direct references to the database, and implement the service level calls. Okay, so we're taking, here we are calling a contact service to find this, and we're returning HTTP action results at this level, whereas at the service level, we're returning booleans. All right, so controller. Returning HTTP action results. Now then, this logic that puts contact logic, very important, has been moved into here. I should say we need to put it in here. Okay, so let's put the contact async. there's a bunch of boilerplate HTTP level action. Let's get it. We'll put it here. And here we have a perfectly valid database level operation. We'll return task bool from this. So if not, oh wait. Row return true. No, it seems to be the problem. So now that. Interesting. All right, so our catch block, we lost the closer for the catch block there, and now what we're dealing with is we've cleared up all the writing here. The context controller, post contact. So the contact service now has logic to put a contact asynchronously. Modifies the state. This contact, we're going to have to come back here and, of course, do some defensive programming. We'll probably do some C#7 syntactic sugar to null check this. Here's an asynchronous save, an asynchronous await, a throw return, a very simple logic block. Okay. Let's do the same thing for post async. Post async is doing a modified state, a save async, contacts exist async, returns booleans. Okay, so this is our post async. Now, associated controller method, we're going to depend on the add async. All right, so we're going to have to our post contact. We're going to be able to do, it looks like, is simply comment this out because that code all occurs in here. There's the wait save changes async. There's the here's the await db contacts. Sorry. And this one. No. Contacts. Contacts. Okay. So this code here place where some code right here, which will be, let's say, result, save result, save result is contact service. And post contact is same. Like this. And we have ourselves a save result. Technically, what we should do since it now wants to work with this ID, which would have been modified in line here, but now disappears into this method. We could do instead of return what we return now. Go ahead and refactor this method. Yeah. I say there we want to refactor this method. You're fucking with me for some reason. Okay, let's just do it. Contact. Now I want to return a tuple from this, so let's return. Okay, this isn't quite the method signature for a tuple. Okay, so what we want to do is return a tuple from this thing. So let's just look up the C# syntax for the method signature. So expand that over here so you can see what it is we're doing. We are looking at tuples, so you need to return a type tuple. Okay, so this is the moment of truth because depending on what version of C# and how your Visual Studio is set up, this may or may not work. So I'm going to return a tuple. Tuple. This and this. Okay. And then you need to return a new tuple of your type. Okay. So you return a new tuple so oops. Return a new bool contact and false. Okay. So what's going on with there? No code paths return wrong. So yeah, we're gonna return a new bool contact, which will be true in this case. Now all the code paths here. The return of an async method must be void. Oh, okay. So really, my friends, what we're returning is task people this this this. Oh, so we're returning a task of tuple, which is bool contact. We're accepting a contact. So when we call it, we just pass ourselves a contact and we get ourselves a tuple. Okay. So the tuple will be, now the thing is, I don't want to hide the fact that it's a tuple of bool contact. Save result. To the contact, save result. Right. I don't want to hide that. And I want this quickly to go away. And so what we have to do, my friends, contact service modifies post contact async. We should over here. This method here to the interface. All right, so see our interface is an asynchronous interface. And we want to take advantage of a C#7 thing, which allows me to access multiple return values from a method. Yeah, it's convenient for the context controller because in our post contact method, here's all the HTTP layer stuff. Here is the database code that we've replaced. And the output of this database operation is a modified contact entity. And so we need access to it after it's been modified. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use the tuple that's returned instead of this. Okay, so we modify this line. And here we'll say save results. Item pool that item. Save result. Item to which we expect to be a contact. Okay. We'll come back and do some defensive coding around what we return here. We'll need to return some HTTP if this failed, obviously. So we want to redirect them if this fails. Okay. So this is an API controller. Now let's go ahead and add ourselves. HTTP controller. Okay. So I wanted to do that so that I could get access to the database code. Now, we're not going to deploy an API controller in this project. And we do want to have the red go away so that we can build with what we're doing next. So here is, since we're not actually going to use this code, we'll simply re-enable this so that red goes away. And in fact, what we want to add is a straight up control. Okay, so let's do let's do a app controller MVC controller views using Unity Framework, which will give us free scaffolding of the CRUD operations, although we'll then decouple the controller from the database context. We're going to use async controller actions. We'll generate views, do this, we'll do this. Now then, see, we already have ourselves something called context controller, so we're going to rename this one. All right, so we're renaming this, and we sure hope that the class got renamed. So now, let's scaffold this thing. So let's see, new controller, MVC5 with views, using the Entity Framework. Model clouds will be the contacts. We'll keep all that. So we got a contacts controller. Okay. It's saving. I'm going to pre-celebrate the coming legalization of Mary Jane marijuana in this country by making certain arrangements at this end. Okay, so Visual Studio is going to go out and scaffold up the controllers and views for us, which will be scaffolded up with some simple CRUD operations. And then we're going to go in, remove the database references, and instead replace those with references to our service class. Now, Visual Studio, MVC, dependency injection, all these things have gone through some changes over the past 3 to 5 years. And so the raison d'etre of this video is really to do a walkthrough for folks who might have to be choosing today a dependency injection situation for the ASP.NET MVC websites. Now remember that you can take such a website and deploy it, for instance, in the Microsoft Azure Cloud Platform. If you have your cloud authentication situation in place, if you have some of your service layer exposed as REST services, then you're along the way, pretty far down the road towards getting it to work out of the box by simply lifting and shifting it from your on-prem web server to Azure and have it immediately benefit from the scalable deployment scenarios that you can put together in Azure using Azure Web Apps. All right, now we're not going to test in an Azure Web App. We're going to test on-prem so that we can later make a lift and shift video. I'm going to go ahead and confirm certain things. So we have let's make sure our database instance is running. So our local database instance does not appear to be running. But we have a remote instance that we can work against. Now I have the Unity Framework connection in the dev environment currently set to pipeline tap. So I need to get pipeline tap running. All right, we'll just start these services directly in the services thing here. It's coming down to SQL Server. The browser's running, and then also services are running. SQL Server, the pipeline tap instance is not running. Well, we're just gonna bog down my poor little Dell laptop here. Measly 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. Now we can come back here and refresh this. Okay, so just to recap, if you're joining us, we're just doing some code integration of the Microsoft Unity Framework in version of Control Container. Hello. Right. Our data collections thingy has gone a bit haywire. It really should be refreshing. Failing that, it really should be deleted. Let's just add it in. Okay. There's a certificate we need to trust. Most annoying. Okay. Maybe things will get better after we restart Visual Studio. I don't want to see that. I want to see the data connection. Okay, let's work around that oddness. Real. Is we've changed the default provider under it. And it did not like that. What am I talking about? So I came into the web config and I changed this section. So I came into the root web config and I changed the Unity Framework section to use the SQL connection fraction instead of the local DB provider that comes out of the box with. Yeah, okay. Broke this. So now can't connect it to even delete it. So what I'm going to have to do is put that, essentially put that bit code back in there. Let's just quickly see if we can find on that. So change into framework provider. Okay. Create suspender. It's suspended. What are we doing? We're doing this, right? So it automatically emits this section. This connection string. This is the modern version of it. Now, current state of it is what? Current state of it is entity system data entity infrastructure. And the original state of it was this. System data entity internal config file. But let's try. Okay. Into section. Into default. Connection factor. Okay, so if we set this like so, I've got a hunch. We won't pursue very much further. But we'll soon get back control of this thing. So there. So build a project. I really like this little feature right here. This is super cool. Right, and this pull down thing here as well is pretty cool. Convenient way to reach for those particular levers. I cannot be wrong. I almost don't mind this, because we lost the mapping when we changed the default connection factor. What are we complaining about here? Right. Okay, so this didn't come back quite yet, so we'll go ahead and close this. Oh, there it went. Excellent. Save some memory. Save some memory. Chrome is a surprising memory hog. Ostensibly for good reasons. I do want container level isolation, if you will, of my web tasks so that code doesn't reach out of the web browser into my environment. However, it comes at a cost. Which is being made worse by Spectre. This particular box should perform better. It used to. And I want to blame the defenses against the Spectre bot for the performance degradation I claim. You noticing? Oh, and let me do this. One of the pain points currently is that I'd like to use domain authentication to reach across the domain to Cumanoro. And I can't quite get it to work. Okay, so I'm gonna use this works out. Okay. Now let's open the solution. With modern line of business application, typically the project solution, it does go to some size. So it does start to make sense to move your builds to a build server. And now it does start to make sense to move the build server to Visual Studio Team Services, where you can do continuous deployment and integration. So that's worth another video sometime soon. Here the project is. It's the broken pipeline tab. There are my tables. Okay. Never show this again. I know you're going to ignore me, but I'm going to click there anyway. Okay, so damn it. have a look at adding a context controller to portal. Let's have a look at publishing this. I'd like to pick a web server that's not located on my laptop, but I'm not quite 100% sure how the connection string issues develop. So, let's publish the URL. Let's publish to localhost. Let's publish to Atlanta. Local. Have an IIS. I might have to install this in IIS. Let's just validate that. Just use the server manager to build this situation. Looks like we have to install something. Can we do it here? Okay, so DevOps is part of the thing. This is DevOps. Developers doing operations and operations people doing development and blending of the two kind of worlds. I didn't really want this to be so much about DevOps, such as, for instance, why did that not, I don't know. I really do expect this to show right there. I don't see it, it's kind of annoying. In fact, it's not hooking. Into anything which might be related again to our Active Directory domain permissions. Okay, so bottom line is we need to go to programs and features. And we need to come here. Oh. Just having a little think. Okay. And some optional features here. And add us a feature. So I've just recently added Windows 10 to this laptop. I haven't been doing too much local development on it. So I kind of restrict my local development to virtual machines for some reasons. And I will go ahead and look for I don't see what I'm looking for here. Just go ahead and download from the official site. I'm actually on a preview build of Windows 10 Pro. So there are some strange things that still happen. The documentation seems to be out of sync with the workflow for actually getting IIS going. Okay. So it's not. All right. Now then, to say management console. It seems to be true. I believe it might be related to the fact that I'm logged in as a domain user. It's the IIS rows. I think what I might do is what I have been doing, which is go ahead and publish this out to recruits. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll go ahead. We'll publish this out to recruits. Taxlab.com to using forest. And I just need to verify the name of the website in question. So we're going to connect to this web server and take a look at how the IIS is configured on it. Okay, so looks like we might need to restart this machine. Okay, we're having some infrastructure issues. This web server really wanted to be talking to me right now, and it is not. Looks like it might be waking up there. Okay, actually, I won't do this right now. I will try to use this. Okay, let's make sure the web management services are started. Oh, so it is running. Validate we do have root deploy installed. Strange. Very strange. Well, looks like we have to troubleshoot this a little further offline. In the meantime, we don't have a working website we could push to. So I'm actually going to fix that up and then come back to this, because for the next steps, I do need to see this out. So we'll come back to it.